All right, Glenn. I'm just gonna take a sip of water and then I'll do the spoiler intro.
Spoiler intro. The cuss you are.
The cuss am I?
The cuss are you.
Who the cuss you think you're talking to?
I'm talking to cussing Miguel Magusto. That's
Cuss
right.
you! Cuss you, Benjamin Bunn!
Cuss you.
The following podcast contains spoilers for Fantastic Mr. Fox. You have been cussing warned.
I think I might have had a slight seizure in the middle of that. I think my chest hurts a little bit. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of KFR News Radio. This is your host, Glen, along with your host, Miguel Magusto.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was pretty cussing cool what we just did right there.
It was, yeah. Nothing is better for vocal warm-ups than growling like an animal.
Absolutely.
Because it definitely keeps your voice silky smooth.
100%. Yeah. Everything goes down like butter now.
But yeah, how you doing, Glenn?
I'm all right. I just worked a really ridiculous shift, and now I can hopefully relax until something else happens at work next month where we have to go crazy again, for the love of God. So hopefully that doesn't happen, and your boy can just get well rested and work normally like a human being.
That'd be nice, yeah.
But other than that, I had a pretty good weekend. It's pretty fantastic, but not the Mr. Fox. That was today. But yeah, it was pretty cool. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad. What movies did you watch?
I watched Cocaine Bear, which we have a review up out in the skiddly doodly woodly YouTubity. And I don't know how I managed to say any of that. And then, of course, I watched Fantastic Mr. Fox. It was a little bit of a busy weekend as far as trying to watch a subbed movie like I wanted to.
Understandable. Completely understandable. I watched 8 movies, which is really funny because yesterday I was like, man, I haven't really watched that many movies this week. Turns out.
Absolutely cranked them.
Yeah, I watched as many as I normally do. The first one I watched is an Ingmar Bergman film from my Ingmar Bergman collection, From the Life of the Marionettes. German language, funnily enough. He's a Swedish director, but he made a German language film. It follows the aftermath of and the pre-math of this guy killing a prostitute. Or sex worker. Sorry, I don't know if prostitute's offensive now or not. But anyway, yeah, he kills one, and it just kind of looks at. It's kind of done in like an interview fashion where it talks to people who knew him like before and after and all that.
Yeah.
Really, really well done movie. I enjoyed it. Then I rewatched from the Ingmar Bergman collection, Hour of the Wolf. This came up on the 1001 movies last year, so I watched it for the first time then. But as I said, I'm trying to watch the Ingmar Bergman movies in the suggested order. So this was after From the Life of Marionettes. Still love that movie. It's great. It's got some of the best pacing in the world.
Very good.
Yeah, really suggest people check it out. Then I watched Cocaine Bear. We have a review for that on the YouTubes. You can check that out. Then for the 1001 movies you must see before you die, I watched The Golden Coach. Really boring romantic triangle type movie from the 50s. And we know me and romance.
Yeah, we do.
And that is exasperated whenever it's from the 50s. I don't like golden age romantic movies. Even more so than I don't like modern romantic movies. So yeah, I didn't really care for it. I honestly don't see why it's so beloved. I mean, I understand like I didn't like it as much as other people, but it also didn't really give me enough to be like, oh yeah, I understand. Usually the ones I don't like, I'm still like, I understand why that's on there. This one is just like a very standard movie, so I don't know why it's on there at all.
I don't know.
Then Caitlin and I, going through the Oscar Best Picture nominees, watched Tar with Cate Blanchett. It was a rewatch for me. Really enjoyed it. Surprised she really enjoyed it because it's a slow burn, like a really slow burn.
Maybe just because Cate Blanchett's just so goddamn good.
She is so goddamn good. But yeah, that is Tar. Highly suggest people check that out if they get a chance. Then watch Fantastic Mr. Fox. We'll get into that in just a minute. Then I watched a film called Parallel Mothers, which is pretty much my worst nightmare as a parent.
Oh my God.
Which I did not know. Like, I knew it was about these two mothers who kind of bonded. But and this isn't spoiling anything. It kind of is given. It's a baby swap movie.
Oh.
And it's horrifying because that still happens today. Probably not as much as it did, when we were born.
It still happens.
Yeah. At least when my son, my boy, was born, they had a pretty good system to make sure that didn't happen.
And so that kid 120% looks exactly like you.
Oh my God.
It's very safe to say you're good.
Honestly, if he's not mine, shocked.
Yeah.
Like he's a mini me.
It's a pretty good swap.
Yeah. Pretty good swap. But yeah, even though it was like my worst nightmare, it's a really well-made movie. It's a Spanish film with Penelope Cruz.
Oh.
Really well done. I highly enjoyed it. So I suggest people check that out. Then I went to the Regal Mystery Movie Monday last night. And the movie was, I actually guessed the movie right this time.
Holy crap.
It was that movie Champions with Woody Harrelson and Kate Olsen, or Caitlin Olsen. I don't know if she goes by Kate or Caitlin, but from It's Always Sunny. Sweet D. Of course, this movie is it's essentially the Mighty Ducks, where a professional coach, he's a lawyer in Mighty Ducks, but in this he's a professional coach. He gets into a hit and run. Not a hit and run, a drunk driving accident with a police officer. And he gets community service and is told for his community service he has to coach this team, which this team is of intellectually challenged, I think is the word they use. I just want to use the verbiage that they use to respect
special
it.
needs.
Yeah, special needs adults. So, it's not kids, they're adults. And it's cheesy, it's campy, but I really enjoyed it. It's a feel-good movie. It's not going to blow anyone's socks off, but it's got a lot of...
Here I am wishing that I could have those just straight blown off. Damn.
But yeah, it's a really, really funny movie for the most part. A lot of really funny moments. Really does a great representation of showing that, like, even though they are special needs or intellectually challenged, as they said in the movie, they are adults that can live normal lives just with a little help.
They're very competitive too.
Yes, and it's just really, I don't know. It's a funny movie. You have to see it. I highly suggest people check it out. Again, not going to blow your socks off, but it's a good feel good movie. Cheech Marin's also in there, so yeah, and so is Ernie Hudson.
Nice.
So that comes out March 10th, I believe. So, yeah.
Coming up.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I watched this week. Let's get into Fantastic Mr. Fox.
And so it begins.
Welcome to the fantastic world of Mr. Fox.
Woo! Should we dance?
Woo! His life is fantastic.
Pure wild animal craziness.
His wife is fantastic.
If what I think is happening, it better not be.
His neighbors, not so fantastic.
This is Bogus, Bunce, and Bean, three of the meanest, nastiest, ugliest farmers in his valley.
What was that?
They're digging us out.
But they're about to discover
Oh, Foxy. Is help on the way?
he's one fox
I've got an idea.
you can't outfox.
Mole, what do you got?
I can see in the dark.
We can use that. Rabbit, I'm fast. Badger.
Demolitions expert.
What? Since when?
An urbane fox cannot resist returning to his farm, raiding ways, and then must help his community survive the farmer's retaliation. Directed by Wes Anderson, written by Roald Dahl. He wrote the book.
You did it again.
What did I? Damn it!
It's Roald Dahl.
Rolled. God damn me! I even reading a little bit earlier, trying to read some of the fun little facts. I was like, man, Ronald, good for Ronald. He's making his own book and everything like that.
Did you not read Roald Dahl when you were a kid?
No.
Oh, there you go.
I don't think I did, at least.
BFG?
Yeah, big fucking gun, yeah.
Anyway, sorry to cut you off there.
No, I did not. It's written by Roald Dahl, the
Thank
book,
you.
and then the movie, Wes Anderson and Noah Baumbach. It stars George Clooney, Meryl Streep, Bill Murray, goddamn Jason Schwartzman, Wallace Waldarski, Eric Chase Anderson, Owen Wilson, Willem Dafoe, Jarvis Cocker, Wes Anderson himself is in there, Michael Gambon. There's just a shit ton of people. He loves using the same people over and over again, and we love to see those people's careers get fucking movies.
Yes.
So yeah, this has been on the list for a while, as any movie that I usually pick for any of my weeks. But specifically with Wes Anderson, it is hard for me to find the motivation to watch these movies because he's very, not saying that his movies are bad, they're just very unique and stylish that I have to be in the mood for those. Mm-hmm. And this one, I know it's very widely loved as far as audiences go, kids and adults alike, which is super cool because this was a kid's book. And so they're just into this shit. I'm just like, wow, if a kid likes it, I gotta like it. Guess what? I probably did. We got to talk about it, though.
Yeah. I said last week that I watched this when it was in theaters in 2009. Thanksgiving Day 2009. Almost hit a deer. That's another story that I already told. And I think the thing I like most about this, obviously, I think this is a good movie. I enjoy it. Yeah. I like Wes Anderson's style. I completely understand some people need to be in the mood to watch his stuff because it is a very unique style. But the thing that I like most about this movie is that unlike other animated movies where they record the audio in a studio, he actually got all the actors together and recorded it like live where like in the behind the scenes, you see there's one part where George Clooney is on a motorcycle, like making himself bounce up and down and delivering the lines. It's just a really unique way of getting the dialogue recorded. And you can kind of hear, all of the audio has like textures and echoes and stuff.
It definitely fucked with me throughout the whole movie. I'm like, I feel like a movie like this caliber cannot be doing this not on purpose. There's no way. And then I read, I'm like, okay, that makes me feel more at ease right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they took him to sewers, they took him to barns, they took him to all of these different locations. Mm-hmm. Just any of the scenes that was happening, they've shot in those places. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think he did that with Isle of Dogs as well. I don't know for a fact if he did, but I would be surprised if he didn't. Just because he did it with this one, so why wouldn't he do it with that? And then also, not related to Wes Anderson, Rango did that, the Johnny Depp chameleon movie. They recorded it. I believe they only did it in studios, but they still got all the actors together and recorded it live. So it's just
Which is the coolest way to do that.
Yeah, it's a unique way of getting the audio you need for it. And while I was watching this movie, having recently told you about the story of seeing it Thanksgiving Day,
yes,
goddamn, the colors of this movie just scream Thanksgiving to me.
Yeah, not a single blue or green. I read.
Yeah, it's all ambers and oranges and browns and reds. Very fall-like movie. And I think it's personally gorgeous to look at. The puppets have actual. Well, I don't know if it's fur, but like they have like it's not just like a texture. It's like actual fur, and you can see from frame to frame the fur moving as the animators had to move the figures. So it kind of adds this whole texture to the film that is charming in its own way.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see this movie in theaters on like a Thanksgiving season.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be cool to go. I wish I could go back in time, but I didn't really go to the movies too much back in 2009. Yeah. But yeah, it'd be really cool.
A child.
I was but a small freshman in high school. But yeah, it would have been pretty cool to do that. Like you were saying, or we were saying earlier, this has got charm and unique styles. I would really enjoy to see Isle of Dogs and see how much of like his style works super well with the stop motion, like a puppeteering thing. And if he had more movies like that, I'd definitely be on board because I really enjoyed this. It was very cool, very creative, and just charming as fuck, right out the
Yeah.
ass. Or I'm sorry, charming as cuss.
He's charming as cuss. Yeah, this was his first animated feature, at least. I don't know if he did any shorts, and he's only done I Love Dogs since then. Which, for those you might hear, that the Isle of Dogs is meant to sound like I Love Dogs.
I do.
Which, yeah, I also love dogs, and I found that out way too late. Like probably 2 months after I watched it for the first time.
Yeah.
Someone told me that. I was like, "Holy shit, you're right!" Or sorry, "Holy cuss, you're right."
Well, it's it's also just a real life thing. There's an Isle of Dogs, like an island.
Yeah.
So it's got multiple meanings for multiple people.
It's
amazing.
got layers. It's got layers. It's like
and
Harry
like
and the
an
Hendersons.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a 30 Rock joke. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's definitely got his style despite it being animation. It's the most, for lack of a better word, cottagecore movie I've ever seen. It feels like you'd watch this in a cottage.
Yeah.
It's a very warm film. It's silly. It's very dry humor, which Wes Anderson's known for.
Oh yeah.
But I would argue that this is probably his driest movie as far as his humor goes.
It's up there for sure.
Yeah.
What's really nice about this movie is there was something I was going to say and it disappeared. So I love that it did that for me. Just fantastic. It was super educational. Unnecessarily educational, but you enjoyed it no matter what. You're like, oh, okay, so that's the name for all these in Latin. Sick. I love it.
Yeah.
And they just throw random facts, little title cards everywhere, just giving you some information, like a kind of like, not like a kid's book would do necessarily, but like you're learning like as a kid, like, oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Is this what being a sentient human being feels like? Wow. Gross.
Yeah. I also love that it has very little CGI. Like even the smoke and fire are stop motion. The three characters, the three villains, Bogus, Bunce, and Bean, they're, while funny, are also kind of terrifying. Mostly Bean, played by Michael Gambon.
Yeah.
Like he's a really good villain for a kids movie, where he just, even as like if you were a human in this world, you'd be like, man, he's not a good guy.
No.
But I think it's fantastic. This is actually one of my favorite Willem Dafoe roles. He plays the rat, and I don't know, his part is like one of the funniest parts.
Who's got the New Orleans drawl to him?
Yeah, he's got the New Orleans drawl. Get some cider in you. I don't know any of his lines. I just made that up.
He says some things.
Yeah. But when his death scene is, obviously it's kind of funny because it's just a rat and it's kind of done for jokes, but it's also a relatively powerful death scene where he's like, it's probably just because it's Willem Dafoe, but like it's the vocal performance he gives, and I forget what he says, but what he says is like oddly poetic. So yeah, I think it's one of my favorite roles of his. Definitely, at least in one of the voices he does.
Yeah, he's a rat who rats,
and he's definitely my favorite part of this movie too.
Yeah, he was great. Not in the movie enough, but understandably so. Yeah, it was very fun. It is significantly short. The runtime is 127. Yeah. The beginning, like the first 20, felt like about 35 or so, and then like from there, it just kind of was smooth sailing for me.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean that wasn't even that bad. It was still 127, so that would in my brain that would equal around 140, which isn't too bad. But other than that little silly willy snippet of time, it was a pretty smooth, quick movie.
Yeah. It's very well done. Obviously, the artistry of it is probably the best part, which is why he did stop motion animation and not like traditional 3D animation or even 2D animation. It's beautiful to look at. The details, like when they're digging, when Bogus, Bunce, and Bean are destroying the tree. There's one part where they dig so deep that they find cave drawings.
Yep.
You see like the root systems of everything. It's just
super detailed.
It's a gorgeous, warm, cozy Thanksgiving of a movie to look at.
Yeah.
And I love the dry wit and humor that they have. throughout.
My favorite was how they kept it PG by like they're cussing, but they're not cussing because they're just saying cuss.
Yeah,
is unbearably genius.
Yeah,
it's just great. So funny because as an adult, obviously you know what they're saying. They're just replacing it with cuss, and it easily keeps that PG. It's just like Jesus, that's so smart. I hate that. It's I love it, but I hate it. Damn it! Why did I not think of that?
But yeah, I never read the Roald Dahl book. I read a few Roald Dahls. I read BFG, and I want to say James and the Giant Peach, if that's him.
I don't know.
Let's see. But I have read a little bit, but I was never like a big reader. Probably would have read more if I was a big reader.
Yeah, I didn't even figure out words until I was 12.
Well, there you go. It must be hard getting through life without talking to people.
I just read lips. It's the closest thing I could do.
You couldn't read words, but you could read lips. That's great. But I've always liked Roald Dahl's like aesthetic in his movies and everything. And I personally there are some Roald Dahl adaptations, like obviously Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is a great Roald Dahl adaptation. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Tim Burton one, doesn't feel like Roald Dahl. Spielberg's BFG doesn't feel like Roald Dahl to me.
Yeah.
The Henry Selick, James and the Giant Peach from the 90s, that feels like Roald Dahl. But this, I feel like, captures, the aesthetic that I imagined when I was reading his books the best.
It keeps, like you said, the aesthetic of his version of it, and then it absolutely is distilled with Wes Anderson's style and world, but it still feels like it came right out of the book.
Yeah, definitely. It was nominated for Best Picture the year, or Best Animated Picture the year it came out. Probably lost to a Disney movie that didn't deserve it.
Who knows?
Let's see what won. Because my thing I feel like Disney movies, like whenever it comes to animated movies, everyone votes for the Disney movie because they don't see anything else because they don't respect animation.
Yeah.
I'm worried that's going to happen this year because Pinocchio should win. Oh, you know what? Up is one of the few Disney movies.
Is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the few Disney movies where I'm like, okay, that deserves it. Man, good year for animation. The 5 that were nominated: Up, Coraline, Fantastic Mr. Fox, The Princess and the Frog, and The Secret of Kells.
Yeah,
all
them
fantastic.
Some good ones.
Yeah, all fantastic animated films. But yeah, this is one of my favorite animated movies. Stop motion animation will always be my favorite animation style. I don't think it will ever be beat just because it's a cliche, but the physicality.
It's such hard work.
Yeah, the physicality of the work and like it's actually things. It's like, practical effects versus CGI effects. I always prefer practical because it's something that's there. Even if it looks more fake, it's something that's there and you can hold. And I feel like that's probably the main reason why I like stop motion animation over every other type.
It's just so cool.
It is so cool and cozy. And cussing dope and cuss.
I'm cussed the fuck out. Oh shit, that's not how that works.
But that's all I got to say, really.
Yeah, it's about the same. There's so much.
You liked it overall, though?
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed it. There's just so much to it, but it's so simple at the same time.
It really is just like color-wise and design-wise. It feels like Thanksgiving. And I'm surprised I didn't realize that the other times I watched it. Not even when I watched it in December.
During Thanksgiving.
Yeah. But that does it for our review for Fantastic Mr. Fox. That brings us to the judgment. As always, it needs to be unanimous decision whether or not it goes on the KFR shelf with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden. Glenn, this was your pick, even though you made me flip a coin, or you flipped a coin and I had to call it.
Funny enough, I actually flipped a memory card.
Oh, well, there you go. But what do you think? Does Fantastic Mr. Fox go on to the KFR shelf?
So out of all of Wes Anderson's films, this is so far out of, I think, the 4 that I've watched, I believe. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4. This is my favorite one so far.
Oh, which 4 have you seen?
Grand Budapest, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Moonrise Kingdom, and Life Aquatic.
Even more than the Grand Budapest Hotel?
I really enjoyed that movie, but
Okay.
I
That just
think-
goes to show how much you like this one.
yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, like Moonrise Kingdom and Life Aquatic, I had to be in the mood for those movies,
yeah.
and I kind of forced myself to be in the mood to watch those movies. So
Yeah.
I feel like that was a little discretion thing.
Yeah.
But
I got you.
I mean, Grand Budapest, I didn't have to feel like I was in the mood for that
Yeah.
movie,
Grand
which was
Budapest
nice.
is his best, in my opinion. But, I mean, that just goes to show you how much you like this one. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Who knows? Maybe maybe a rewatch on Grand Budapest might change that. But until then, I'm gonna put this on the shelf because it was just so damn good. A great holiday movie for Thanksgiving too. If you want to have the kids circle around a TV and not a campfire and just have their eyeballs sucked into a babysitting TV, it'd be great.
It will warm them as much as a campfire would. But yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree. It's a fantastic film. Even like not just an animated film. It's just a good film overall. Great vocal performances, full of wit and dry humor, which I love. So I
And-
also
Makes me want to watch the behind the scenes stuff too.
yeah, the behind
Which
the
is
scenes
rare
stuff
for
is really
me.
cool. That scene where they're in the sewer and the water is falling behind Mr. Fox and Mrs. Fox is gorgeous. It just popped up on the trailer that I'm watching
Yeah.
right now. It's just gorgeous. It's a gorgeous film, so it obviously definitely goes on the shelf.
100%.
Yeah, so fantastic. Mr. Fox goes onto the KFR shelf with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden. That brings us to our assignment for next week. It is Streaming Roulette Week.
Wow.
Yes, it feels like we just did this 3 weeks ago.
It's something like that. I don't know how
So-
addition works.
For those of you who don't know, Streaming Roulette, we spin a very real wheel the size of Rhode Island that contains every movie on every subscription service we subscribe to, streaming service we subscribe to, and we spin it 3 times and pick the one we want to watch most out of those 3 times. So without any further ado, here comes spin number 1. Diego Maradona. It is a biography sport film from 2019.
Is it a soccer player?
Is that a soccer player? It's a
Yep,
documentary.
documentary
it looks
sport.
Yeah. Constructed from over 500 hours of never-before-seen footage, this documentary centers on the career of celebrated football player Diego Maradona, who played for SSC Napoli in the 1980s. It is directed by Asif Kapadia, starring Diego Maradona, Dalma Maradona, Pele, Corrado Forlano, and others. And that is going to be on HBO Max, 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb. Diego Maradona. So that is our first option. Here comes spin number 2. Homecoming, a film by Beyonce. I would like to not watch
God.
this. Can I spin it again?
Fuck it.
Unpopular opinion, I do not care for Beyonce. I do not get the hype around her.
Film by Beyonce.
So I'm spinning again. Okay, that's a
Morgan.
comedy special.
Okay.
Here we go. The Siege of Jadotville with the Siege of
2016. It's a war
2016?
action film on
Yes.
Netflix.
On Netflix. It is Irish Commandant Pat Quinlan leads a standoff with troops against French and Belgian mercenaries in the Congo during the early 1960s. Do you think they're going to see mutated gorillas?
I don't know, but is that Mr. 50 Shades of Grey himself?
It is, I believe. It is
The guy
directed
who
by
does not want to be involved in being told that he's been a part of that movie anymore?
Yes. Directed by Richie Smith, written by Kevin Broadbent and Declan Power. It is starring Jamie Dornan, Finn O'Shea, Sam Keeley, Ronan Rafferty, Mark Strong. Good old Mark Strong is in there. Fiona Glascott. Her picture is just her in water. I hope she's okay. She actually died after taking that picture. You know, hold on,
Can
let
you
me
imagine if
make
she
sure
did?
she's not dead. Let me make sure she's not dead. Okay.
Funny enough, she was born in Waterford, Ireland.
Well, there you go.
So, I guess that makes sense.
But yeah, so this is going to be on Netflix. It is a 7.2 out of 10 on IMDb, and it is Siege at Jadotville. So that's spin number 2. Here comes spin number 3. That is a concert movie as well.
God damn.
God. Frankenweenie. We have the chance to do 3 animated movies in a row here. I've seen Frankenweenie for.
I'm down, and I'll spit this little fact for you right now. I'm down for Frankenweenie.
Okay. I haven't described it yet.
I don't care. I know exactly what it's about.
Let me see where we're at here.
It's the same runtime as Fantastic Mr. Fox, too.
On Disney Plus, and of course you can rent it other places as well. You know what? If you're down for that, I am too. I think it's only fitting that we do 3 animated films in a row.
I mean, I feel like we gotta.
Yeah, I've already seen this. Are you okay with that?
I haven't seen it, so I'm okay with that.
Okay. When a boy's beloved dog passes away suddenly, he attempts to bring the animal back to life through a powerful science experiment. Directed by Tim Burton, written by Leonard Rips, the 1984 screenplay, and Tim Burton, who had the original idea, and John August wrote the actual screenplay for this version. It's based off of a short that Tim Burton made a long time ago. Stars Winona Ryder, Catherine O'Hara, Martin Short, good old Martin Short, Martin Landau, good old Martin Landau.
That's
Charlie,
2 animated movies with Martin Short.
Yeah, Charlie Tahan, who I believe is in Ozark. He is in Ozark. Yeah, he plays Wyatt in Ozark.
Oh,
yeah. Tom Kenny, good old SpongeBob himself. First we have Squidward in Treasure Island or Treasure Planet, and now we have Tom Kenny.
We're knocking them all out.
Atticus Schaefer is also in there. Who else? D. Bradley Baker, he's a voice in there. Christopher Lee's a voice in there. Frank Weller. So yeah, I guess we're doing Frankenweenie then.
Frankenwiener.
Yeah. So yeah, I watched this at a very strange point in my life, and maybe I'll discuss that later next week.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sparky is a great dog, a great friend.
The best dog a kid could have.
When you lose someone you love, they never really leave you. He'll always be in your heart.
I don't want him in my heart. I want him here with me.
The nervous system is just wires and cables. Even after death, the muscles respond to electricity.
Sorry, boy.
Sparky! I can't believe it!
I can fix that.
I know.
Know what?
Your dog is alive!
You can't tell anyone. Promise?
Promise.
Victor brought an animal back to life.
With lightning and boom and
So Frankenweenie is our assignment for next week. You can find that on Disney Plus as well as renting it other places. Thank you everyone for listening. As always, you can check out our website at www.KeystoneFilmReview.com. On Instagram, we are Keystone_Film_Review. Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube, Keystone Film Review. And on Letterboxd, I am Mike KFR.
And I am Glen KFR.
And that will do it until next week when we watch a Frankenstein movie, but about a dog. And we all know how I feel about Frankenstein and dogs.
And wieners, yeah.
Just dogs in general, not
yeah, okay.
wiener dogs.
Oh, I never said that.
Oh. Goodbye, everybody.
Have a good cussing week.
Yeah, cuss you.